let's start with Safety Architect. So first, some background. So the development of Safety Architect started 10 years ago, but in the beginning, the tool was very different because the safety analysis was based on equation, so it was not very user-friendly. So in 2013, we integrated Sirius to replace the equation with diagrams. So, by the way, I invite you to review our presentation from the last year at SiriusCon to learn more about our experience with this module. Then we worked with Thales already in 2015 during a research and development project dealing with system safety co-engineering. And from this work, we implemented an add-on for Capella and a bridge with Safety Architect. Finally, we are currently working with Siemens to interface Safety Architect with Siemens tools, so Teamcenter and System Modeling Workbench. So I'm going to present these both interfaces during this webinar. So why did we create Safety Architect? What are our main goals? First of all, we want to provide a tool dedicated to safety engineer. So this means that our users must be able to create classic safety analysis. For instance, the preliminary risk analysis, more especially the one for specific domain, such as the functional hazard analysis for the aeronautic, or the HARA for the automotive domain. Then, with Safety Architect, we can also generate fault trees and FMEA or FMECA tables. The second objective, and I already talked about this a little bit, is the fact that we want to provide a user-friendly way to manipulate safety concepts. So based on diagram rather than on equation or Excel table, which are unfortunately still too much used. The third goal, so we want to ensure consistency or at least promote co-engineering between the system and safety teams. So that's why the starting point for the safety analysis in Safety Architect is a system architecture. This system architecture can be a high-level architecture, so a functional architecture, but it can also be a more detailed architecture, such as a software or a hardware architecture. And the loop indicates that this process is iterative because when the results of the safety analysis don't meet the safety objective, safety mechanism must be added in the system architecture to improve the safety of the system. The fourth and last objective is to interface with other engineering tools to become part of the engineering ecosystem. So first, for the analysis produced, such as the fault trees, they can be exported in different formats. The reports can also be exported in the most classical document formats. We can import system architecture from various system engineering tools. And we have transversal connection for the requirements and with the Siemens Product Life Management tool, Teamcenter. And finally, we can import security data from our tool, from our other tool, Cyber Architect. And the goal is to combine safety security co-engineering in order to potentially find conflict between the need of the safety team and the security team. Okay, so let's start the demonstration of Safety Architect. So this is Safety Architect. So Safety Architect is an Eclipse-based tool, so like Capella. So the interface is really similar with Capella. You have the Project Explorer, you have the palette, you have the Properties tab here. For instance, we also have an Activity Explorer. Yes, so it's very similar because it is based on the same technology. And first, I'm going to present you an analysis on a functional architecture. So it is a UAV model, so unmanned aircraft vehicle architecture, a functional architecture of this system. So normally, at this stage, we want to conduct a functional hazard analysis. So for this, we have to add a .fhi file in Safety Architect in the project, and you simply have to open it to conduct and to fill this table. And what is interesting is that to fill this table, the information are supported by the items that are in your model. So for instance, in the first column of the FHA table, we have to select a function. So we only have access to the function that exists in the model. So you can select a function. Okay. Next, we have to select a failure condition of this function. So you only have access to the function, to the failure condition that belongs to the function that we selected previously. Okay. Next, some other column can be filled with thanks to lists, and this list can be customized in the preferences of the tool. We also have textual style. Here you can select a hazard that we added in the project, and you can assess this risk. And when you select a value, the DAL is automatically computed, and also the quantitative safety requirement. And we have many other columns that you can fill manually or with a list. And this list, again, you can customize it in the preferences of the tool. Okay. We have something similar for the automotive. So I can close this project. Oh, sorry. Okay. For instance, here I have another project, an active cruise control, a functional architecture of an active cruise control for the automotive domain. And in this case, we don't want to conduct a FHA, but a HARA. So it's the same principle. You have to add a .hara file in your project, and you have a similar table, but specific for the automotive domain. So with specific column, with specific list, etc. But again, you have to select function in your model, the malfunctioning behavior, etc., etc. You can assess the severity of this event, the exposure, controllability, all the fields that are needed to perform HARA for the automotive domain. So this first part was dedicated to the presentation of the analysis at a functional level. And now I'm going to present you another project. It is a hardware architecture of a Whipper system. So here we have a hardware architecture. It is a simple project. And what we have to do, so for the moment, all the projects that I present, the architecture have been created in Safety Architect. But it is not the goal of Safety Architect. We don't promise that we are a system engineering tool. The best is to import the architecture from other tools. But in Safety Architect, we have the basic concept to construct, to design system architecture. But in the next demonstration, I will show you how to import models from Capella or from SMW. So I come back to this project. So in this project, it is not very complex. I have only one level in my architecture. In this level, I have the subcomponents. And now I have to perform the safety analysis. For this, there is a .feared events file where we can list the hazards or feared events that we want to study. So you can add several feared events. you can write the name that you want for this feared event. And also, if you want, you can assess the severity of this feared event. So the severity depends on the situation when this feared event will happen. So this severity is just a preliminary assessment. We'll be able to change it later. Okay, so this is the first step. And next, we have to fill the local safety analysis of each component. So for this, we double click on a component, and now we have access to a new representation, and we call this representation the local safety analysis. And the goal in this representation, the goal is to represent the failure condition of the component. So for this, we have different kind of concept of safety concept. So first we have the events, so system events. The system events are used to represent system events or environmental events that can impact the component. So for instance here, electromagnetic interferences. The local events are used to represent things that can go wrong in the component. So for instance here, I put a generic local event that I call internal failure. And I could add several local events in the component. Next, on the input port and output port, we have the failure mode. So by default, we propose the most known failure mode, so absent, untimely or inadvertent, and erroneous. But if needed, you can also add your own failure mode on the port. And on the failure mode, we can also, for some failure mode, we can also allocate feared event or hazard on a failure mode. That's why here we see the feared event logo, because the feared event that we created in the .feared event file is allocated on this failure mode. And next, we have to describe the failure condition or the propagation of the failure between the failure mode and the events. That's the goal of this kind of representation. So for this, we have the different gates. And next, we also have another concept, the barrier. The barrier is used to represent existing safety mechanism in the component. And we have to do this local safety analysis for each component. So we have to come back to the architecture and go to the next component. We have something similar, and we continue like this, DSU, etc., etc. Next, that we created the propagation, we can add specific information on the failure mode. So in the properties, when we select failure mode, we have a FMECA properties section where we can add specific information on the failure mode that will be used when we will generate the FMEA table. And there is also an assessment properties part section where we can assess the failure mode according to your domain. So for the automotive, you have access to the exposure, controllability, and for the FMEA, you have the occurrence and detection. And same thing, for instance, on this failure mode, we have similar information. Okay, now that we filled the local safety analysis and the information on the failure mode, we can now propagate the failure. Propagate, next. I select for which feared event I want to propagate the failure, and finish. And from the information of the system architecture and the information of the local safety analysis, it automatically generates a fault tree for this feared event. So it is what is proposed by default for the user. But with this generation, we also automatically generate other information like a risk report. A risk report, it's like a matrix, a risk matrix, but we choose to represent it in another way, because in a risk matrix, when there is a lot of risk, it becomes unreadable. That's why we choose this representation, but it is the same principle. You have all the risk, and with the different color, you can see which risks are the most critical. And on the risk, you can click on the risk, and again, you have specific properties that you can set for the risk. Now we can also generate the FMEA. So next, I select all the failure mode of the project, and it automatically creates the FMEA table with the main part of the FMEA is automatically filled. So we have the function, the failure mode, the failure local effect, the failure end effect, etc. The assessment criteria, the severity, occurrence, detection, and the risk priority number is automatically computed based on the multiplication between these three criteria. And if needed, you can export this table to Excel if you want to perform modification in the table. But also some columns are editable directly in Safety Architect. And another type of report, the textual report. It is a textual report that contains all the information of the project. So it contains information about the system architecture, about the local analysis. All the information are textually represented in this report. Okay, so I can close this project. So it was a basic architecture with basic concept for the system architecture, but as we want to interface with other tools like Capella, we added in Safety Architect more advanced concept to be able to import Capella model in Safety Architect. That's what I'm going to present you. It's the same project, but it is another representation of this project where we have the three architecture level, so the functional level, the logical level, and the physical level. So it is so we added the same concept that we have in Capella to be able to import the Capella model in Safety Architect. The only difference between Safety Architect and Capella is the allocation. In Capella, when you put a function in a logical component, it automatically creates an allocation because the function is contained in the logical component. But in Safety Architect, we choose to represent the allocation with links, because thanks to these links, it adds new ports on the component. So here you have the output port, the classical output port, and now we have new port. It is the allocation port, and thanks to this port, we are able to propagate failure between the different architecture levels of the system. Like this, for instance, you can have a physical failure in a physical component, and you can propagate it through the physical architecture and to the logical level, and finally to the functional level. So like this, you can propagate through all the level of the architecture. That's why we choose this representation.